So the Niners, they took Bosa, they took Debo, they took Jalen Hurd. They got nothing from Jalen Hurd, still went to the Super Bowl. And they were up 10 points with 7 minutes left. And you know the rest. What would you do differently to give the 49ers that Super Bowl victory?
Throw the ball to George Kittle on 3rd and 5.
So you would make Jimmy Garoppolo better?
Yes. Actually, forget if I was making Jimmy Garoppolo better, then forget Kittle on 3rd and 5. The Niners dropped 30-10 in that football game.
Yes, pretty much. Yes. So, okay, aside from making Jimmy Garoppolo less bad, is there anything else you would do? Because that's a tough one. That's a tall order.
Drop Emmanuel Mosley back. Because the way they played, I mean, it's cover 3, right? By the rules of cover 3, Emmanuel Mosley played it right. But Robert Saleh has talked about it, and I've heard about it a little bit, that the Niners were actually prepared for that exact concept, WASP. And they had planned. If you watch the way Jimmy Ward plays it as the free safety, he just doesn't let Hill get inside of him because he knows he has Mosley's. He's supposed to have Mosley's help outside. And I don't want to put it on Mosley. He's just a good player. He had a good season for the 49ers in 19 and all of that, but I'd have him drop into that zone. And when Patrick Mahomes' bomb that was like in the air for 20 minutes, and because he threw it so far off his back foot, Mosley can be right there to fair catch it and end the football game.
I love Robert Saleh, and even if he were watching this right now, which he might be, I would say I would go. And you know more about football than I do, Robert. You know more about coverages than I do, Robert. But I would say I would go with
split safety.
I would play split safety on the third down, and I think Todd Bowles pretty much showed that was the way to go with the Chiefs. I mean, I understand playing single high against a team that wants to dink and dunk against you, but they want to go down the field. I think that one there. I mean, really more split safety throughout the game. And then
I will say this though. The Robert Saleh we saw in 2020, because Robert Saleh in 2019 was much improved. Robert Saleh in 2020 was even better than that, and the amount of things he did in split safety coverage. It didn't matter about Jimmy Garoppolo. With 2020 Robert Saleh, I don't think the 49ers lose that football game. I think he just is a bit more creative. He just does a bit more things from split safety because they were still married to being a Seattle scheme defense in 19.
They were.
And their wrinkle was occasionally being – now instead of being split safety occasionally, they were split safety like maybe 40% of the time, and they were single high 60%. I don't think he would lose that football game.
I would also say that I would probably call a couple more runs on 2nd down in the 4th quarter, but that's a couple of plays.
And maybe I would increase Nick Bosa's arm length from 33 to Aldon Smith 35, because if it was Aldon Smith 35, he would have 5 sacks in that football game instead of 15 pressures.
That's true. David Velez says Kyle Williams hadn't returned a punt since high school, and you put him out there in terrible conditions. God, I miss Ted Ginn Jr. Yeah, the thing with Ted Ginn, he ran the wrong route against the Saints. I wrote an article on this, revising history. He ran the wrong route, ran into Michael Crabtree, and got hurt. He like these speed guys are like Ferraris. They really can't function unless they're 100%. And he just kind of ran into Crabtree, didn't play the next week. That was it. If he had just run the right route.
Wait, really? I thought he was hurt.
He was hurt, but I mean, he was hurt because he ran into Crabtree. Like it was on him. Go back and watch the play. He just runs a route straight in. I think it was like a rub route or something, and he just didn't do it well and got hurt. Yeah. That
2011 playoffs from Crabtree was brutal. Jabari Greer and Corey Webster had their ways with him.
Yeah, he was really bad. A lot of people put that on Alex Smith going 1 for 13 on 3rd down, but I think there was one catch by a wide receiver in that game. It was Crabtree for about 7 yards. That's why they drafted A.J. Jenkins.
And they signed Randy Moss and Mario Manningham. And then it turned out they actually had a number 1 receiver in Crabtree, and then he blows out his Achilles right after the season. Unlucky.
Yeah. He was in much better shape in 2012 than he was in 2011, Crabtree.
He was coming off the broken foot, though, so he didn't train all offseason. And
That's true. In 2012, he was in amazing shape. Him and Colin Kaepernick were in amazing shape that year. John says, guys, explain your take on the WASP play versus KC and the hold on Bosa. Was it or was it not? Holds call. No holds call, Grant, since you're from a neutral perspective. What do you think?
I thought it was a hold, but
You thought it was a hold?
I don't think that I thought it was a hold, right? I thought it was a hold when I watched the play live. But even with the hold, the Niners still made a mistake that allowed that to be a 50-yard completion or 45-yard or 35 or whatever the amount of yards was.
Do you think that the Chiefs would have got that call, that holding call, had they been on offense? That the ref subconsciously wanted to elevate Patrick Mahomes? No,
because
just a bad call.
Because I do think that Chris Jones got held inside a decent amount in that football game as well.
Okay, that's a fair thing to say.